Are you ready to go from, am I good enough, to, wait, is this even good enough for me? Welcome to the Self-Love Sessions podcast. I'm Nadja Hagen, your hostess and self-love coach for all your high-achieving women recovering from people-pleasing and ready to prioritize yourselves. In this show, I share actionable tips and tools to help you set healthy boundaries and prioritize yourself, so that you can intentionally build your life aligned with your values and finally build mutual, connected relationships without the need to pretend to be someone you're not. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back, my friend, to another episode of the podcast that puts you at the center of your story. Today we are tackling a topic that I know hits close to home for so many of us. How to silence that pesky inner critic and build unshakable self-love and confidence. You know the voice I'm talking about, right? The one that says, "Who do you think you are?" Or, "You're going to fail anyway, so why even try?" If your inner critic has ever auditioned to be the narrator of your life, stick around. Because today we are going to kick that critic off the stage and replace it with a voice that actually lifts you up. Here's what we'll dive into today. How to recognize self-sabotaging thoughts even before they spiral out of control. And how you can build a compassionate inner dialogue. Yes, talking kindly to yourself is allowed. And techniques for practicing self-compassion so you can boost your self-love and confidence for the long haul. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to ground ourselves. If you're in a space where you can pause, close your eyes and take a deep breath, do it now. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Let's release the tension and set the stage for some powerful insights today. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with recognizing those sneaky self-sabotaging thoughts. You know the ones, they show up uninvited when you're trying to do something new or step outside your comfort zone. Maybe it's that little whisper of, "You're not good enough," or "Everyone else has it all figured out except you." Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Your inner critic isn't a reflection of reality. It's a reflection of fear, doubt, and past experiences that no longer serve you. The first step in silencing it is to recognize it for what it is. Just a thought, not a fact. Let me share a personal story. I remember a time when I was about to launch a new program. The self-doubt was loud. What if no one signs up? What if they hate it? My inner critic was full on karaoke mode, singing the greatest hits of imposter syndrome. But you know what I did? I named it. I said, "Oh, hey there, doubtful Debbie. Thanks for showing up, but I've got this under control." Naming that critical voice helped me separate it from my identity. And that's a huge thing and step forward. So the next time you catch your inner critic throwing shade, try this. Pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it kind? Is it even true? Most of the time you realize that your inner critic is about as reliable as a weather app in a storm. And when you recognize those thoughts for what they are, you can start to challenge them. So let's practice this together. Think of a recent time when your inner critic spoke up. Maybe it was when you tried something new or when you made a mistake. Bring that thought to mind. And now ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? Notice how your brain starts to look for evidence. And spoiler alert, your inner critic rarely has solid evidence to back up its claims. Okay, now that we've called out the inner critic, let's talk about what to replace it with. A compassionate inner dialogue. And before you roll your eyes and say, "Compassionate dialogue with myself? Really?" Hear me out. If you wouldn't say something to your best friend, why on earth would you say it to yourself? Think about that for a second. Imagine your best friend comes to you and says, "I'm such a failure. I'll never be good enough." Would you nod and say, "Yeah, you're right"? Of course not. You'd say, "Hey, that's not true. You're doing your best and you are enough." And probably also, "I love you." Here's your challenge. Start talking to yourself the way you talk to that friend. Instead of beating yourself up for mistakes, remind yourself that you are human. And being human is messy, beautiful, and perfectly imperfect. One way to build this habit is through affirmations. Yes, I know affirmations can feel cheesy at first, but they work because they train your brain to think differently. Try this one. I am worthy of love and kindness, just as I am. Say it out loud. Write it down. Stick it on your bathroom mirror. Repetition is key. And if you do not believe your affirmation, try this version. Every day, I'm learning that I'm worthy of love and kindness just as I am. You see, here we go. Another way to practice self-compassion is to keep a journal of wins and lessons learned, especially lessons learned. Notice I said wins and lessons learned, not failures, because every setback is a lesson in disguise. Let me share another personal story here. When I first started my coaching journey, I made a lot of mistakes. I took on too much, said yes to things I didn't really want to do, and burned myself out. But instead of labeling those moments as failures, I reframed them as lessons. Each one taught me how to set boundaries, prioritize my well-being, and show myself some much-needed self-love and self-care and rest. To help you practice this, try writing down one kind thing about yourself every day. Yes, just one. By the end of the week, you will have 7 reasons to believe in yourself, and trust me, that's a great place to start. All right, before we dive into our next segment, I want to share something super exciting with you. My audio program, 22 Days of Enoughness. Think of it as a mental gym for your brain, where you train your brain to believe in you. The result? You'll silence your inner critic and ditch self-doubt for good, and that in less than 15 minutes a day. You stop the constant negative chatter in your mind and cultivate a supportive mindset that helps you achieve your goals. For 22 consecutive days, you'll get a recorded audio session from me, packed with insights, and you start creating new neuronal pathways. Plus, you'll have a daily journaling or contemplation prompt. You choose what works best for you. It's only $47 right now, which is completely insane at this low price. And it's the perfect way to build your self-love and confidence muscles. You can learn more and sign up at nadjahagen.com/enoughness. It's like enoughness, but just with a U, because the U is at the center of everything we do here. I can't wait for you to experience this transformation. Now let's talk about self-compassion techniques. This is where the magic happens, my friend. Because when you treat yourself with compassion, you create the perfect environment for self-love and confidence to thrive. Here are 3 simple but powerful techniques to get you started. The first one is the "what would I say to a friend" exercise. The next time you mess up or feel like you're falling short, pause and ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? Then say those same words to yourself. The second technique is the self-compassion breaks. When you're feeling overwhelmed, try this quick practice. Place your hand over your heart. Take 3 deep breaths. Say to yourself, "This is hard right now, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm enough, and I'm doing more than enough." The third one is the celebrate small wins technique. Every day, take a moment to celebrate one small win. Maybe you got out of bed when you didn't feel like it. And for this day, it's more than enough. Maybe you spoke kindly to yourself for the first time in a while. That's an awesome achievement. These small moments of self-love add up to big transformations. Because you don't need to do the big thing right now. Every single small, even tiny step counts towards something that gets bigger and bigger until it's massively big. If you want to go deeper, try practicing loving kindness meditation. It's a beautiful way to cultivate compassion for yourself and others. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering." Over time, you'll feel a sense of warmth and connection that strengthens your self-love and confidence. So, my friend, here's the bottom line. Silencing your inner critic and building lasting self-love and confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself every day, flaws and all, and choosing to be your own biggest cheerleader. In today's episode, we've tackled how to recognize and challenge self-sabotaging thoughts, quiet the inner critic, and replace negativity with a compassionate inner dialogue. You've learned how to reframe self-doubt, practice self-compassion with actionable techniques like the "what would I say to a friend" exercise, and celebrate small wins that reinforce self-love and build lasting confidence. By silencing your inner critic, you create space for a kinder, stronger version of yourself to thrive. Remember, self-love isn't a one-time event. It's a practice, and every small step counts. And remember, you are the narrator of your story, and you get to decide whether your inner critic or your inner champion takes the mic. Spoiler alert, I'm rooting for the champion every single time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And don't forget to check out the 20 days of enoughness at nadjahagen.com/enoughness. And if you loved this episode, share it with a friend who needs a little extra self-love and confidence in their life. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself, and remember, you're more than enough. Talk to you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you're ready to dive deeper into setting boundaries, knowing exactly when and how to communicate them so they stick, I've got something for you. Head over to nadjahagen.com/boundaries-checklist and grab your free 8 Steps to Healthy Boundaries checklist for high-achieving women, so you feel confident in every interaction. This is my thank you for listening and a way to keep supporting you beyond the self-love sessions. I can't wait to chat again in the next episode.